Welcome to Infusion, the podcast. I'm comedian Chris Patrick, a.k.a. Self-Proclaimed Power Man, and I'm here with my co-host and significant other, Rach.
Hey, guys.
And today we're at Grounded Gardens here in Hutchinson, Minnesota, and we're here with Bridget Pinder, who's a hemp farmer, CBD producer, and processor. She's going to talk to us about CBD products and how she makes her CBD products and grows her CBD products, and she's going to tell you all about CBD. Now, we're not talking about THC, the stuff you can get high from, the stuff you smoke, but we're going to be talking about the marijuana laws and definitely get out and vote and help people and help make this stuff legal. And we're going to be so. Without further ado, we'd like to welcome Bridget Pinder. Bridget, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So you're a hemp farmer, CBD producer, and processor. Can you explain more of that and how you actually got into this business?
So yeah, I'm a farmer, and then we produce all of our own products with the CBD that we farm. I got into this over 20 years ago. Cannabis is a good tool for people to use for many different things. And I got into this to help people.
Okay. So you say you're a farmer. So what's to keep like some high school kid from going to your farm and grabbing it? And do you need a license to smoke this? I'm not smoking, but to grow it or something like that?
Yes, you definitely need a license to grow it. So we get our license from the MDA.
MDA,
Minnesota Department of Agriculture.
Okay. So what's the process of getting your license?
You have to fill out the application, background testing. Tell them where you're going to grow and how much you're going to grow, all those types of good things. And then they do, and fees, lots of fees, of course. And then they give you your license if you pass everything. Okay.
And you've done all that and you got your license. So what exactly do you grow? Is the stuff you grow, can you smoke it? Can you not smoke it?
You can smoke it. People do like to smoke CBD. So CBD is non-psychoactive, so it does not get you high like THC does. Okay.
So what's the difference between CBD and THC?
Okay. So they're both grown on the same plant. The head of it is cannabis. And they either breed it down to be really high in THC or high in CBD, or it can have a combination of both of them. And so the THC gives you the high, the psychoactive part, and the CBD does not give you the high. But they both help in regulating different things in our bodies.
Okay, and so far, where we at? I haven't checked, but where are we at in Minnesota as far as the laws, as far as growing, and as far as making it more legal?
Okay, so in 2018, we passed the hemp farm bill. And so we were able to legally start growing hemp for CBD and for fiber and seed. And then, so I've been an activist for over 13 years. We've been trying to get the THC part of the cannabis plant legalized. And that's an uphill battle in Minnesota. So we're still working on it.
So when you say uphill battle, we're talking like a conservative battle because we all know. And I'm going to put it out there. Basically what's going on is that you got people that say, we need to legalize this because it does help. But then we all know that you have the drug companies lobbying these politicians saying, hey, vote against it. So we keep getting this hurdle. And it has been proven that this stuff does help people. Even like THC marijuana does help people with glaucoma. And it helps people with glaucoma, depression, stuff like that. Yep. And what was interesting to me, I was in Colorado and I actually went to a distillery because I had to grab a friend of mine's kid. He had to get a bone marrow transplant. So I said, I'll grab you some stuff, And I said, yeah, this is for my friend's kid. She goes, nope. Don't say that in the distillery. It's
Dispensary.
For you. Dispensary. Yep. She said, it's for you. Just say it's for you. We had to show our license. And now I always say this, we go into the back door. They had to buzz me into the back door. And I thought, people in dashikis and Robbie Shanker music. But it was like a jewelry store. I'm like, man, all white glass cases and all that. And I got some stuff. I got some oil. I got these chew bars and I've tried to get him some more, but I couldn't get him some more. I found them online, but they couldn't send them to us because it's not legal here. Yep. But I was able to get him this oil. I got this one spray stuff. Like if you ever have an ache or pain, you just... Yep. This little bottle costs like $30-something, but you have an ache and pain, and it like clears up.
Yep.
Clears up just great. But what's funny was I bought some oil, and Rachel, as you know, essential oil. So Rachel takes some of it, and she's like, this is way powerful.
Well, I was getting the high off it. And with your stuff, you don't get the high,
Right.
but you get the feeling of like calmness, like with stress and stuff like that, right?
Right, exactly. Yes, that's a lot of what our customers tell us. So we have customers that come in and say it helps them with sleep, anxiety, depression, inflammation in your body, lots of different things. We even had one guy come in and he was having COPD really bad, and he started actually smoking it. And because of the inflammation that the COPD was giving him, the joints were actually helping him where he wasn't even having to take his rescue inhaler, which he was doing 2 or 3 times a day. And was able to cut down on his other medicine. So it's really interesting when our clients come in and tell us these awesome stories.
Right. Yeah, I love the story.
Yeah, well, see, the interesting thing with me is I was in the entertainment business, and being in the entertainment, I started out, drumming, then in comedy, and marijuana is just like all
Everywhere.
over. And for me, I never really got into it. I've never been high or drunk, but I've high or drunk a day in my life. But I've always been a big advocate. They need to legalize this. And I've seen shows where like the rangers and all that are taking these or like huge plants and they're burning them down. And even the people that are the cops that are doing this are saying they need to legalize this because especially all the money. But one of the things about being legalized is that. Is it going to be like are the companies going to like keep it very, very tight to where we can't grow it to where like it's like tobacco is now, that's another argument I've heard.
And that's our fear. Definitely that's happening a lot in other states where the people that have been growing and they are the OGs of cannabis and they're the ones that should be getting the licenses because they've been going to jail. They've been doing all the things to get everybody else their plant. But they're not able to get a license because they make the licenses so expensive. So sometimes it's $100,000 just to get a license. And so they're running the people out that can't afford it, but they're letting the big corporations come in and take over. And that's our fear in Minnesota. As a small hemp farmer, I couldn't afford a $100,000 license.
Sure. Oh yeah. Well, and back up too. I mean, if we're going to go back to history, the father of our country, George Washington, actually grew hemp, but back then they were using it for ropes for ships and stuff like that. So it was very profitable to him, and it was also processed by slave labor. Let's not forget that.
Yep,
I'm glad you brought up the history of it. You were talking about the history of it. So you were talking to Zoe about the history of it and the cows and all that other stuff. So if you want to bring up that.
Yeah, we were talking about everybody has an endocannabinoid system in their body, ECS system. And in that system, we need to fill it with cannabinoids. And so in order to get the cannabinoids in our body, we have to use some form of cannabis. Well, back before the government made cannabis illegal, our animals would forage. We'd eat our animals, drink the milk, all those good things, and we would get the cannabinoids in our body. Well, not us, our great-great-grandparents, whoever was lucky enough to do it, And so their cannabinoid system was filled where a lot of ours aren't, and that's where a lot of these things come from, their ailments and different things like that. As they're doing more research, they're finding.
Okay, yeah, they're finding that stuff like that is so cannabinoids. So they had that in our milk and our.
Yeah, it was because the animals would eat the hemp. They would get the cannabinoids in their bodies, and then we would eat the animals or drink the milk or the butter or all that good stuff, and then we would get the cannabinoids in our system. And also breast milk, when a woman is, breastfeeding, makes cannabinoids to give to the baby. So there's a lot of interesting things you can look up about CBD and find how it helps.
Well, you said the cows were eating the cannabinoid, and this stuff wasn't like planted; it was like growing wild.
Just grew wild, exactly. Like the farm that I'm on right now, my great-grandparents had to grow hemp on that farm. So back in the wartime, when they grew hemp for rope, if you had 18 acres, you had to grow 20% or some percentage of that for hemp for the war. And then my great-grandmother that grew the hemp then actually worked in Hutchinson, we had a hemp plant. And they would make rope there for the war. So it's really interesting. Now I get to grow hemp back on her same land where she grew it so many years ago.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I've known like with THC marijuana, I've known like people that little rowdy kids back in junior high school. Some teachers that your science teacher may have some plants in there or something like that, and they go and put a seed just on top, just throw a seed in there. Next thing you know, you got marijuana growing.
Yep, for sure. Yeah.
Because I know marijuana, it doesn't take like a lot of watering or a lot of.
No, definitely not. They don't like wet feet, so they don't like a lot of water. Yeah, so that which is a really good thing for farmers is because you don't need to water. So like we're very lucky. We don't have to spend a lot of time with that. We just kind of wait for the rain.
Well, one of the things too is, and we're talking about legalization of it and all that.
Yeah.
But one of the things I've saw is that what happened was after the Civil War, after slavery, after the Civil War, that a lot of African American people were smoking marijuana, and they passed the laws. I'm not sure when, but I know back in like the early jazz age, heroin and stuff like that was legal. But one of the things is they were smoking a lot of marijuana, and they said, well, we can't put them in jail for being black, but hey, we can put them in jail for marijuana.
Exactly.
And so the laws, if you actually look the laws up, the laws are actually racist to begin with.
Yes.
And like back in the 60s, guys getting like 2 joints or something, getting life in prison for like 2 joints and stuff
Ridiculous.
like that. And some of them are still in jail today, even though it's getting legal and stuff like that. And some of them are still in jail today going, hey, come on, this, and they can't get out.
Yeah, I know a guy out in Luke, his name is, I can't pronounce his last name very well, but he was one of the first cannabis dispensary owners in California. And this is when the federal government was going in and doing a lot of raiding when they first started legalizing and opening up dispensaries. He had a legal dispensary, and him and his partner got busted, and or whatever, the feds raided him,
Right.
and threw him in jail. He's still sitting in jail. And his partner got out like 5 years ago. But think of all the cannabis dispensaries that are open in California now. And this man is still sitting in prison for what these corporations are coming in and doing. And that's the travesty of what's going on in our country and our communities. Because like even in California right now, I was reading a story, and they talked about how the taxes are different in every single community. So every county has different taxes and different regulations. And so it's hard for people even to figure that out, and the hemp growers and the cannabis growers need to be able to get into this market.
Oh yeah, because they've spent so much time in it and done time for it. But then now you got that felony on your record. Now you can't get a license because you got a felony for something that's legal now.
Right, exactly.
So it's this never-ending circle of
it is
of bureaucracy.
Yes, definitely. Well, and if you think about the Minnesota marijuana or the Minnesota cannabis program that we have here, it's not very good. So they don't have flour on the program. They only have oils and like a tincture and like they had a spray. And I think they added edibles recently. But finally, our government in Minnesota just passed putting flour on the medical program. So as an activist, we're hoping that will start to bring the prices down on the medical program because our medical program shuts out so many people because it's really expensive to buy it and people can't afford it. And then how our medical program was set up kind of scares us. Going back to what you were talking about not being able to get into the industry. Our medical program in Minnesota is run by only 2 companies. So Minnesota has created a monopoly already with our medical program. And that goes back to us being scared about what are they going to do when they legalize in Minnesota? Right. Are they going to let all the big corporations come in and take over? Or are they going to let us little folks that, have grown for so long come in and actually do what we know how to do best?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing is are these big companies, going to cut to where, like you said, where it squeezes out the little guys, but then when the big guys come in, how potent will the stuff be? Right.
So so what happens a lot of times is the big guys will come in and they'll ask somebody like me and they'll say, I'll give you $1 million. Come and, run or whatever money it is and come and grow for us and do this for us. But we're going to put our name on it and we're going to, so it just kind of depends on who you are and how you want to go about it. I don't want to do anything like that. We want to stay small and craft and, do it that way. Yeah,
because now we first met, we were at the State Fairgrounds at the what was the name?
Mind, Body, and Spirit Expo.
Mind, Body, and
Spirit. Such a beautiful building. I can't get back in there.
It was so gorgeous.
Yeah, we met there, and you had these little gummies, these small little gummies, and I tried one, and I'm walking around, and all of a sudden I looked at Rachel, I'm like, I'm starting to feel. I mean, it wasn't like I was like
just calming.
Yes. I could feel myself just calming.
Yes. My girlfriend says, she says it's like a nice warm hug. That's what she always says. It's like a nice warm hug.
Well, it's interesting because before we were setting up the podcast, I was looking at our daughter Zoe, and I'm like, "What are you eating?" Because she's
you never know, around here.
Now, talking about kids, would you recommend any of this stuff to children?
Yes.
Okay.
Definitely. It's not going. There's a lot of children that are on the medical program also in Minnesota.
Yeah.
So it's something that can help everybody. And the thing with the children that always comes up is because they want to classify it as such a harsh drug.
Right. Exactly. They do. They see it as a drug, and they want to say, "Oh no, stay away."
Right.
Yeah, I remember when me and Rachel first started dating. She's like, "Well, I got one of the kids on Ritalin." I said, "Get him off that crap. Get him off that crap right now."
Yeah, that's scary. My son was on that for a long time, and he went from like 200 pounds down to like 100 pounds, and and they're just like zombies, and and so cannabis. Actually, my son was on the program too. He has autism, and so we got him on the program to help him be able to socialize and all those types of things. And so I've seen great benefits. I have a lot of friends that benefit from it, gotten off all their meds and everything, especially the opioids. I think that especially the problem we've had with opioid addiction all over the country, this can be something that can really help people.
Yeah, well, opioid addiction is just like, you got doctors overprescribing stuff.
Right.
And my take on it is always, and I tell people, I said, hey, you know what? Drug dealing is drug dealing, whether you're out on the corner dealing or whether you got a white robe dealing it, But one of the things about these opioids is that it used to be, and I say this to be, I said, it used to be when you went to the doctor, tell your friend, I had to go to the doctor the other day. They're like, oh, really? Everything okay? Now it's like, you tell a friend, hey, I had to go to the doctor the other day. What did he give you?
Yeah.
Well, some of that comes from the patients, working in the medical field, where the patient's insisting on that medication.
Yes.
Absolutely insistent. I had one patient that, they're releasing me with nothing. Are you serious? They're releasing you with nothing? Well, okay, we're going to get discharged from here and we'll just go somewhere else. Like,
crazy.
It's not always on the doctors. I feel sorry because the doctors are starting to get some of this bad rep,
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just the patients wanting and insisting that they get these opioids.
Right.
Yes.
I'm glad the doctors are starting to cut back and stop all of it too.
Well, that's because there is a doctor in prison. There was a thing on him on 60 Minutes where he was overprescribed, and he killed like a bunch of people overprescribing that stuff. So a lot of doctors are starting to say, hey, you know what? But like we talked before about, you got the drug companies lobbying these politicians to vote against it.
Right.
You also got these drug companies going to these doctors going, hey, we'll give you a kickback if you prescribe this. And a lot of doctors like this guy, he's in jail for a long time. So I can't give you any more,
Yep, for sure. And so it's a double-edged sword kind of, because I have a lot of people that are actually on cannabis, and then they go into the doctor to get their pain meds, and the doctor's like, oh no, you tested dirty. You have cannabis in your system. We're cutting you off right now, which is also another bad side of this, because a lot of people do need their pain meds and the cannabis at the same time. Yeah. And so now you're looked at being a complete drug addict because now you're doing cannabis and pain pills, but they're helping them regulate,
Well, that's the thing too now with jobs. A lot of jobs, you can't even get the job unless you do a urine sample,
Right. Yeah. Well, and a couple of days ago, we found out Amazon is now jumping on the bandwagon, which is very scary for us. So Amazon, with one good thing, they said, we're going to stop drug testing. So that was their headline, right?
Okay.
And so we were all like, yay, that's good, right?
Right.
And then on the back end of it, they said, and we're going to support the cannabis bill for legalization through the federal government, which is like H something 600 or whatever. Right. But that also goes to what we were talking about before. And now we have Amazon coming in as a big corporation. How does somebody like me go up against Amazon?
Right.
Yeah.
So something you guys don't know, the listeners out there, is we also did our YouTube video with this. And so going with that, you were talking about one thing with the Amazon thing. How do we know that what they're going to be selling is an actual product?
Right, exactly. So our big thing is for our customers and consumers is to know where your product is coming from. So we have 3 major things we want you guys to know about cannabis. We want you to first know who your farmer is. So know where that plant was grown, how it was grown, what chemicals they used, all those good things. Number 2, know how your products are made. Are they made with a lot of chemicals and preservatives and junk like that you're putting into your body? And number 3, know your testing. So every single product that you buy should be tested, and you should be able to see that testing. You may not understand the testing, but at least you know that product has been tested, and you can make sure that always that company's name is on the testing too, that is selling you the product, because sometimes companies white label and do different things like that, and then we don't really know where it's coming from. So the most important thing is just know where your cannabis is coming from and how it's grown.
One of the things I want to say too is that you're talking about people getting out there and voting. What are some of the ways to keep the big corporations, to help the small businesses? What are some of the things we can do? One thing, definitely get out there, get registered, and vote.
Yes,
and vote.
You must vote. Being an activist for 13 years, I've been all over the state of Minnesota trying to get people registered to vote and let them know that Minnesota is a non-initiative state. So we can't just put it on our ballot and ask you guys, do you want to legalize cannabis like Colorado and the other states were able to? So we have to go through a bunch of committees, our House, our Senate, and our governor to even get it legalized in Minnesota. So if we don't get the right people into those places to get this legalized, we have to vote these people in. And a lot of people don't vote. They don't think that their vote matters. Your vote matters, especially in states like Minnesota, because once we vote those governors and those state representatives and everything into office, those are the ones that are making our decisions for us. And so if you want your voice heard, you have to go and talk to and elect the people that are going to do what you want them to do. Exactly.
Well, with you saying that, is that Republican, Democrat, Independent, Libertarian Party? I mean, which party are you saying? Are you just saying, hey, get out there and vote, Get
out there and vote. That's the main thing.
I think it's most important to educate. My daughter, Maxine, she's like, I'm never going to vote. And I think that's the wrong attitude. You need to educate. At first you might not get the candidates you want, but with education and with time, you will get the candidates you want. I think the wrong attitude is not voting.
Right. I agree completely. Yeah. You have got to vote, or you don't have anything to say about it. If you don't go vote, And
what are some of the things we can do? I know one thing we can do to help the small businesses, CBD cannabis stores. One of the things is bring your business here. But what are other things we can do as far as legislation and as far as helping you guys keep your stores and stuff like that?
So we need lobbyists. So if anybody knows lobbyists or anything like that, we need to get good bills written. So a bill was just sent through a bunch of committees, and I think it was our House. I apologize if I'm wrong. I'm not that up on the politics of it all. Our bill just passed one of them, and then I think it was sent to the Senate, and that's Republican led, if I'm saying the right one. And so there's the leader, the speaker, does not want cannabis legalized. And so he doesn't even have to bring it to the floor. And so it never got voted on at the next step. So it's kind of essentially shut down now. So what we need in our bills is we need to make sure that small companies are represented in our bills. That in this one, they talked about they weren't going to let big corporations come in for 4 years. So that means if Minnesota cannot supply enough cannabis, they'll let big corporations come in. So for us farmers right now, I do a clubhouse with a bunch of hemp farmers in Minnesota. And one of the things we were just talking about is how are we going to have enough growers in Minnesota so that we don't have this problem where we let the big corporations in. And so it's about us finding other people that want to grow and, different things like that to get enough people in Minnesota so we don't lose out.
Okay, one of the things about planting, and if you plant anything, year after year after year can mess up the soil. What are some things to do, like when you're planting marijuana or CBD? What are some things you do during the off season to help the soil? Do you switch one field one year?
Yeah, so we usually rotate our planting a little bit. We plant about 10 feet apart, our plant, so you can plant in between where your rows were. But actually, hemp is really, really good for the soil. So the 3M plant that polluted the area, we had talked about going and we had talked to the government about going and planting hemp there because hemp helps remediate soil and it helps pull out toxins and things from our soil. So there's so many amazing benefits that cannabis can have for our earth. And so you don't really have to do a lot, but it does take up the nutrients. So you have to add nutrients back in each year and things like that to get your plants to grow.
When you talk nutrients, what kind of nutrients are we talking?
Oh, we use good stuff like bat guano and worm castings and, all natural things, nitrogen, phosphorus, CalMag, all the good stuff that gives them their beautiful stature.
Well, that's one of the things with us. We're not big gardeners, but we got a small little garden at home. And I was making eggs, and I was like, hey. So I took the egg shells. I took these. We had some fruit or something like that. I grinded that all up. I go, here, go pour it in the garden.
The best thing you can do for your garden is anything natural that you can find. We don't use any pesticides, herbicides. We use nothing. We use all natural ingredients. So we make a tea. So I make a compost tea every few weeks, and we spray that on our plants to give them nutrients and things like that.
So those are really good products to use as far as nutrients.
Yes. Everything organic.
So there's something coming up here in Hutchinson. That we need to tell the listeners about. What's it?
So actually, we're in Silver Lake right now. So our store's in Silver Lake and our farm is in Hutchinson. So we're about 15 miles away from each other. But so in Silver Lake at our store, we're gonna have Hemp Fest coming up here. And we're just going to have a big party, get the community together. I really want to educate small towns and small communities on how hemp can help and how CBD helps people and all the good things we've talked about that CBD does.
And also CBD's has helped people with, we're talking elderly people, young people, middle-aged people.
Everybody. We have a big elderly following here. A lot of people use it. Chronic pain? Yes, chronic pain. Yes, huge one. Yep. Definitely.
Yeah, because when I was in Colorado, I saw they had the video showing, and this girl was on this video, and she goes, I've tried all the drugs at that big corporation, like the Vicodin and the other stuff, and she goes, it wasn't until I started CBD products that it actually did make me feel. All those drugs made me depressed or made me angry.
Yep. Yeah, and even like a sleep medicine. I used to take sleep medications, and they give you like a hangover in the morning where you're groggy and drowsy, and cannabis does not do that. You wake up in the morning, you're refreshed, and you're ready to go and excited for the day,
That was one of the things with me and Rach, because she's like, during the beginning of spring, that's when my allergy starts, and she's like, well, don't you take anything? And I tried not to, but it was like really bad. It's like I drink, but yeah, just like you said, it's like you wake up, you're still kind of like groggy. Even
allergy medicine does that. Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so tell us once again, it's Hemp Fest.
Hemp Fest.
And that will be June
26th.
June
We're doing
26th.
like 11 to 7. You can come and hang out with us. We're going to have a glass blower. We're going to do a CBD bonfire, which I don't know anybody who's ever done that before. So that might be a first here.
What's a CBD bonfire?
So what we're doing is all of our plants that we kept from last year that were full seeded, we need to get rid of them. So we're going to burn them and we're going to have a good time. We're going to all enjoy it together. And we're also going to have a glass blower come out. We have an amazing glass blower that blows for us. And so he's going to come out and do some glass blowing. We're going to have door prizes every hour. Come get some of our products and just have some fun. The community needs to get together after this long year and a half we've had.
Oh, yeah.
Guys, you got to come and check out the store. It's gorgeous.
Oh, thank you.
I think we'll be here, won't we, Rach?
Yeah.
We'll try to be.
Fun.
Well, thanks a lot, Bridget, for joining us for the podcast. It was great.
Now, and for the people that can't make it to your store, how can they get a hold of you?
Oh, you can order online at groundedgardensmn.com, or we have an Instagram, which is grounded_gardens_. Facebook, we're Grounded Gardens. And I got to tell you right now, so banking is a little rough for the CBD industry. So our website doesn't have, we can't take credit cards on our website. Okay. So we've been having people message us, which, has been kind of different. But hopefully in the next couple of weeks, we'll have that back up and running again. Okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Okay. So you guys, we worked together and we got you the YouTube. And so we are going to send that link to you guys. And you guys can get a hold of us on Love Infusion Health. At gmail.com. And we also have a website up, so I will send a link there too. So our YouTube is up. So the rest of the interview for this is on there.
And thanks again, once again, Bridget, for joining us on Infusion, the podcast. Take it easy.